Faith is being sure of what we hope for and being certain of what we cannot see. This is what the ancients were commended for. By faith, we understand that the universe was formed by God's command, so that what is seen was not made by what was visible. By faith, Abel brought a better offering to God than Cain did. By faith, he was commended as one who was righteous when God spoke well of his offering, and by faith he still speaks, even though he is dead. By faith, Enoch was taken away from this world and did not experience death. He could not be found because he was taken away, and before he was taken away, he was commended as one who pleased God. And without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who would come before him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. By faith, Noah, when warned of things not yet seen, in holy fear built an ark to save his family. By his faith, he condemned the world and became heir to the righteousness which comes by faith. By faith, Abraham, when called to go to a land which would later become his inheritance, obeyed and went, even though he did not know where he was going. By faith, he made the promised land his home, living as a stranger in a foreign land. He lived in tents, as did Isaac and Jacob, who became joint heirs of the same promise, because he was looking forward to a city with foundations, whose architect and builder was God. By faith, Abraham, himself past age, and Sarah, herself barren, was enabled to become a father because he believed the one who had made the promise to be faithful. And so from this one man, and he as good as dead, came descendants as numerous as the stars are in the sky, and as countless as the sand is on the seashore. All these people were living by faith when they died, and yet none of them had received the promises. They only viewed them and welcomed them from a distance. And they admitted that they were aliens and strangers here on earth. People who say such things are looking for a country of their own. If they were looking for the country that they had left, they would have been given opportunity to return, but they were looking for a better country, a heavenly one. Therefore, God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he prepares a city for them. By faith, Abraham, when tested by God, offered his son Isaac as a sacrifice. And so he who had received the promise was ready to sacrifice his one and only son, even though God had said to him, "It is through Isaac that your offspring will be reckoned." But Abraham reasoned that God is able to raise from the dead. And figuratively speaking, he did receive Isaac back from death. By faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau in regards to their future. By faith, Jacob, when he was dying, blessed both of Joseph's sons and worshipped as he leaned on top of his staff. By faith, Joseph, when the year was near, spoke of the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt and gave instructions regarding his bones. And by faith, Moses' parents hid him until he was 3 months old, because they saw that he was no ordinary child, and because they did not fear the king's edict. By faith, Moses, when he was grown, refused to be known as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He chose instead to be mistreated along with God's people rather than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a short time. He viewed disgrace for the sake of Christ to be more valuable than all the treasures of Egypt, because he was looking forward to his reward. By faith, Moses left Egypt, not fearing the king's anger. He persevered because he saw him who is invisible. By faith, Moses kept the Passover and the sprinkling of the blood, so that the destroyer of the firstborn would not touch the firstborn of Israel. By faith, the people of Israel walked across the Red Sea as if on dry land, but when the Egyptians tried to do so, they drowned. By faith, the walls of Jericho fell when the people marched around them for 7 days. By faith, the prostitute Rahab, because she welcomed the spies, was not destroyed along with the disobedient. What more can I say? I do not have time to talk about Gideon, Barak, Samson, Japheth, David, Samuel, and the prophets, who by their faith conquered kingdoms, administered justice, and gained what was promised, who shut the mouths of lions, quenched the fury of the flame, and escaped the edge of the sword, whose weaknesses became their strength, and they grew mighty in battle, routing foreign armies. Women received back their dead, raised to life again. Others were tortured and refused to be released because they looked forward to a better resurrection. Some faced jeers and flogging. Others were chained and put into prison. They were stoned, sawed in half, died by the edge of the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins. They were persecuted, mistreated, destitute. The world did not deserve them. They wandered about in deserts and in mountains, in caves and in holes in the ground. All of these people were commended for their faith, and yet none of them had received what was promised. But God had a better plan for them, that only together with us would they be made perfect.